Well, we are back for episode 5 of Loki. And I really can't wait to the end of this show. After the previous episode, I needed a break. So I took a couple of weeks off. I was like, I can't watch anymore. Because I'm pretty sure at this point, episode 4 has got to be the worst one. I think just everything kind of mounts up in that episode into a big pile of shit. That's kind of where we get in episode 4. So that was kind of my meltdown episode. Where I'm just like, there's so much shit that doesn't make any sense, and the more that's said about it, it makes less sense. So we're back with episode 5, and this is probably the most boring episode where very little happens. It's literally not. It could have been a half an hour episode, yet it's dragged out for about 40 minutes or 45 minutes, round about there. And I'm just like, you haven't done anything. All we have is, we're in the void or something like that, and we fight a smoke monster. That's it. That's the episode. The only thing that I will say is this episode actually has the only good thing that is in the show. It's got the only good thing, and I don't imagine we're going to see anything good in the next episode. It's going to be the last episode, so that's where everything's going to get explained, and it's going to make no sense at all. So I think this is probably about as good as we're getting. You know, there's something at least halfway decent with a certain version of Loki that shows up, and that's really all it has. Other than that, there is very little happens. I don't give a fuck about our Loki because they made him watch a videotape and he now completely changed his character. So it's like anything that happens just because it's based, it's like I've got no fucking care. I don't know why Loki is trying to shag himself. I don't know why that's a plot line. That Loki wants to bang Sylvie, which is himself. Why are we doing that? I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe it's just Michael Waldron's thing. You know, I don't know. I really don't know, but let's just dive into it, get this out of the way. I don't imagine it will be a long one. You know, as I say, it's the most boring episode. Where I'm just like, there's not really much to talk about here. You're giving me very, very little to work with. But we start off in the TVA where Sylvie, you know, because the previous episode we found out, was it the previous episode? I think it was. We found out, the space lizards are not really in control. It's someone else behind the curtain. Can't wait to find that out. I mean, I've already had a glimpse of him in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. He was a clown person. So, yeah, we start off in the void, they call it, where this is where everything goes when it gets pruned. So every timeline they prune, you know, all the buildings come here, all the people come here. I don't know why we're very limited on, there's a lot of open area. But you can see this purple cloud monster in the background, and it eats all this shit. So that's essentially what the TVA does. They don't actually remove it. They just, I'll put it all over there, and we'll just have this giant smoke monster eat it all. Right, rather than just, I don't know why they can't get rid of it. But we get a bit more on that. So Loki wakes up here after being pruned by the boss Whammon. And for some reason, these other Lokis know he's here. I don't know how they came across him. So yeah, it's like this thing here. It's like a big smoke monster. So like we better get going. And then we have fucking Sylvie threatening the boss woman. And I'm going to point out now, so when we left them the previous episode, they were down, like they took the lift down into where the space lizards were, and they're now up in the courtroom. So I'm just going to point out. So what you done was you dragged her through the TVA building in front of everybody, the TVA agents, and they didn't stop you. Did they all go home? No. I'm just pointing that out now because later on the TVA agents come in. It's like, where the fuck you been? I don't know, but she's threatening her. You know, what does she say? Yeah, apparently. So, but it's already pretty obvious that the boss Whammon is not on. It is actually, you know, just talking shit, just lying to Sylvie. You know, she's like, we want the same thing. And yeah, and then Sylvie's like, oh, how is Loki dead? And how will saving him get us closer to who's behind the TVA? It's like, I don't, that's not what the judge is after. That Loki, we need to save Loki to find out. You know, we need to find out who the man behind the curtain is. It's like, that's all the boss Whammon's interested in. I don't know why you're bringing up we need to save Loki. She didn't say that. She didn't even mention it. And you're just like, how will saving Loki find who created the TVA? You know, well, I don't think Loki really plays a part in that, does he? So, yeah, then we just get a load of exposition dump on us. Where they now apparently change the rules. She's like, when we prune a branch reality, it's impossible to destroy all its matter. So we move it to a place on the timeline where it won't continue to grow. Basically, the branch timeline isn't reset. It's transferred to a void at the end of time. And that, yeah, it's just a purple monster eats it. Right. Okay, I've really got nothing to say about it. I'm just like, right, so that's how you're saying it's worked, right? Okay. So that's kind of the conversation they have. And then she says a line where it's like, oh, the person who wrote that line thought it was really good, didn't they? The way she delivers it. What does she say? Where every instance of existence collides at some point and simply stops. But it's like the way she delivers it. I'm like, calm down. It's not a good line. So that's pretty much that, I think. So then we go and meet the other Lokis. You know, we got Richard E. Grant. Yeah, that's it. We got a boy Loki. We got a black Loki. We've also, for some reason, got an alligator Loki. I don't really know how that works. I don't know if it's an alligator that's a Loki. Why doesn't it transform into something, you know, a bit more convenient rather than I'm gonna crawl about as an alligator? So why not just turn yourself into a humanoid? That would make you, especially when you're running away from the purple monster. I don't know why you want someone carrying you, but for some reason they treat this alligator like it's a pit bull. Like later on, we have a fight. The alligator starts fighting people. Like he runs up them and like chews at them and all that. It's like that's not what alligators do. But I don't really get why it wouldn't just transform itself. It's like it can. It's able to do that. So that's who we've got. Yeah, Loki's like, what is going on here? Poor Tom Hiddleston, he's trying. He definitely is trying. It really comes out in his performance. He's like, guys, I know this is fucking shit. Please, just believe me. Just be on my... That's how it comes across whenever he's performing in this show. It's like he's just desperately trying to pull it all together. You just kind of feel sorry for him because it's like, Tom, there's no script there. There's no script there for you to work with. They really should have just got some random guy off the street. That would have been more worthwhile. So yeah, I don't think they really mention much here. You know, again, they do a similar thing where it's, oh, in one scene we're gonna have it all explained, And then in the next scene, we're going to have it all fucking explained again. We don't need... We can skip those parts. But you're clearly trying to make up the time. So that's why I'm just kind of speeding through this, because it's like there's nothing. There's nothing to comment on. So yeah, they get to their little home. So yeah, there's like the alligator there. Like you can see that, you know, they get the boy to carry it, not the big muscular man here. But again, just transform yourself into something. You're a Loki as an alligator. You can just transform yourself. So we've got like bits like 4 in a jar, right? Okay. And they go into their little base. And then we go back to Sylvie. Wow, I can't get enough of her. So they're working together, apparently. I don't know why Sylvie is even trusting this bitch. I don't know why. It's like, it's very obvious. She's got no reason to want to save Loki. She's got no reason for that. And you're like, we've got this prototype that can fly beyond the void or something like that to fight, because they think that, well, clearly the man behind the curtain who created all of this, he is beyond the void. And this woman says, "Oh, we've got a prototype that goes through voids." It's like she's clearly talking shit. I'm to be honest, I'm glad they didn't go that route, because then I'll be like, well, that's a bit strange that you've got beforehand you had no reason to go beyond the void to find out who was behind it, because you didn't believe it. So the fact that you would have something that can travel through voids or beyond the void, that would be very, very, very convenient, that, wouldn't it? So to be honest, I'm glad they did, because that would make it fucking worse. But no, it's like she's clearly stalling for time. It takes Sylvie a long time to realise, oh, she's playing me. So then it doesn't take long to... The TVA agents show up. I don't know where you were before. Sylvie had to drag this woman through the TVA building to get to this room. And nobody stopped her then. Even though that's what the boss woman wants. She wants to get Sylvie stopped. No? So then it's just like, oh, I'll keep you alive if you do this for me or something. And then she self prunes. Yeah, she prunes herself. Unfortunately, that's not the end of her though. Great, we got more of her to come. So yeah, you've got these people in here telling stories and everything. And then Richard E. Grant, Loki, tells his story. And that is the part that I was mentioning. Is the only decent thing in this show is his character. That's it. He actually has something, which I will go through. He just talks about, like, after I faked my death, I drifted in space, away from everything, and thought about the universe and my place in it. It occurred to me that everywhere I went, pain followed, so I removed myself from the equation. He found like a remote planet and stayed there in isolation for a long time. And then the TVA eventually found him as soon as he was about to step off the planet, because he wanted to go and visit Thor, because he missed his brother and he wanted to see if Thor missed him, if anyone did. And I'm like, yeah, you've got something there. You've got something that would actually make a better fucking show. I guess you wrote this by accident. That's all I can really go on. Just the fact you have this guy that has viewed himself as just causing all this pain. So he's just kind of removed himself into solitude. And then eventually gets lonely. He's like, I miss my brother. I want to go and visit him, see if he misses me. You've got shit to work with there. And it's just like, can we make this show about this Loki? He's actually got a story here. Whereas we have Loki that watched a video, he watched the entire MCU, and he's a changed man, even though it doesn't fucking work that way. That's the Loki we've got. Great. So, yeah, you've got... That's the only praiseworthy stuff is the Richard E. Grant stuff. It's just, oh, he's got something there. He's got character. Whereas this other Loki we've got, he watched the video. He just watched the video, and then all of a sudden he's like a different man. Because that's how that works. So, yeah, eventually you have other Lokis that show up. Like, Loki's like, I'm going to go and fight the big smoke monster without a plan or knowing anything about it. And that's the one thing you notice in this episode. It's like his plans are shit. It's like Loki's this trickster. You know, he's the god of mischief. Yet when it comes to planning anything, it's like he's shit. What they do later is, of course, they have Sylvie come up with a grand master plan because she's smarter than everyone and she has a vagina. Whereas this Loki, it's like none of it's just a complete character assassination. There is nothing left when it's like, no, he should have all these certain qualities about him. He should be able to plan. He should be able to do all this stuff. Yeah, it's just like, nah, he ain't got none of that. We got the girl version to do it. Even though it's like, well, no, this character would know all this, like, how to do certain things. But no, so he comes up, there's all these other Lokis. You also get, Sylvie is now in here. The smoke monster catches up to her almost. And it shows us something beyond the void. And then, oh, just in the middle of this planet, it's a planet. I assume it's a planet. We have Mobius shows up in a car. Exactly where Sylvie was. It's like he was over there and the scriptwriters told him, here, Mobius, Sylvie's over there. So he, like, races after her in this car. Just, like, as she's only just got here. Like, within 10 seconds, and this car is rallying up across the fields to get her. Okay. Fucking bullshit. So, she's running after it. She gets in the car with Mobius. And they start driving off. I think, do we come back to them? No, yeah, we come back to them later on. So, then these Lokis show up, and it turns out that the black guy betrayed them to then be the king of fuck all, basically. Because it's this boy that is apparently the ruler of them. It's like, yeah, they're Lokis, so they tend to do that, backstab. So then they're like, no, we're not giving it to you either. We also double-crossed you as well. So then it turns into a big fight. Whatever. We have the two Lokis and the alligator Loki, and I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who he is. I'm just lost. Who is he? Who is that guy? Who is that guy following them about in a depressing... You know, he's got a tie on. What the fuck have you got a tie on for? Dunno. So you have, like, Richard E. Grant. He comes out saying stuff like, you know, that's what we do as Lokis. We lie, we cheat, we cut the throat of every person who trusts us. And for what? For power, glorious purpose. We cannot change. We're broken. Every version of us. Just like, yeah, you've got something there. You've got something there. It shows us a bit more of sort of, you know, just how he views sort of Loki's. Just like, you know, there's no change in us. We just backstab and, you know, do all that sort of stuff. You know, and again, it's just in line with the, you know, I went off to this remote place because I realised I was the one that caused all this pain. You know, they have a nice little payoff, sort of send off for him at the end of the episode. Again, only thing worth mentioning. So then Loki's like, we're gonna defeat this monster, and then we go back to Sylvie and Owen Wilson, which I don't know why the fuck he's even in this. And what sort of stuff do we get here? Let me turn my page. Yeah, so Sylvie, after being there for 2 minutes, she's like, when I pruned myself, I thought I might be able to find Loki. You've been here a couple of minutes. You know, you're doing the Obi-Wan Kenobi thing. Remember in that show where he showed up on the planet for like 10 seconds and was like, "No one's here, Leia. No one's coming." It's like, you just got here. But they come across Loki eventually anyway. They just drive and come upon him. They did it twice in a row. So she's just like, the only thing that matters now is getting out. And the one thing I will bring up now as well is Mobius has a tempad. Meaning, why the fuck is Mobius still here? When he got... The TVA are so incompetent, they pruned a man and left his tempad on him. Meaning he can travel out of here. Yet, what has he been doing? Why is it he thought, oh no, I'll go and get a car and then maybe I'll come across Sylvie? Why would he not just go somewhere else? I don't know. I don't know. He's been here. Remember, he got pruned. He got pruned halfway through episode 4. So he's been here for a while and didn't think, oh, maybe I can travel back or travel somewhere. You have a tempad. And with Sylvie going, the only thing that matters now is getting out of here. Well, your buddy over there in the front seat has a tempad that he still hasn't mentioned. It comes up at the very end of the episode. It's like you could have used that at any time. But, you know, they forgot to... fuck it. Who cares? So, yeah, so we go away from them. I don't think they say much else. We go back to the Lokis, and they're trying to figure out a plan. They're standing over here. This big ship comes out of the sky, and Loki's like, what we do is, because the smoke monster is called a Goliath for some reason. I don't know why it's even... fuck knows. I don't know why. They must have had a beer together. That's why we know its name. So, yeah, they're like... So, what will happen... while Goliath is busy with this sort of... You know, they say main meal, meaning the ship. We'll sneak round the back of it. Sneak round the back of smoke that is miles in diameter. So by the time you actually get round behind it, it's already going to be done with this, isn't it? Because it's like miles wide. So the idea, oh, we're going to sneak behind a smoke monster. You're going to sneak behind it. That is miles in diameter. So it's just like, what the fuck are we doing? Nothing's in line with his character. Nothing. It's all disappeared. It's all disappeared because he watched a video of something he never experienced. He can't even figure out a plan. This great god of mischief. He's just like, just sneak round the back of it. A smoke monster, miles in diameter. Unbelievable. But not to worry. A person with a vagina shows up. They've got a plan. Never has it been more obvious than in this show. Just that sort of bullshit. So, yeah, they're like, then they turn up in a car and it's like, oh, we found you now. Right, okay, that's how we're doing it. So, essentially, they all just walk up and they're like, listen, Sylvie, we're all shit because we have penises. What is your plan that is going to be better than ours? For some reason, even though Loki is like, he's known for his, you know, sort of big plans. He's known for that. So I don't know why he needs you. So yeah, she's just like, you know, I'm better than you, Loki. I'm so much better than you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up the plan. Hand me your couple of bollocks. Hand me them over. I'll put them in my purse. And then I'll come up with a plan because I'm just better than you. It really is that. It's essentially that. So she's just like, I'm going to enchant it. I don't know why. Why the fuck can't Loki do that? Why is it? It's like Loki knows how to do enchantments. Why are we pretending that he doesn't? It's like we've got Sylvie here who taught herself magic at 6. Yeah, sure. Fuck off. And Loki's like, it's like we've seen him do enchantments. Why can't he do any of this? He's Loki. But no, she's got everything. She's got everything she needs. She has the power, you see. So, yeah, what do we have next? Yeah, and I think we go to... She goes and talks to the fat woman about, you know, oh, you let Sylvie go. What do you know about her? What drives Sylvie? And she's like, revenge. And I'm like, boss woman, why don't you know this? Why don't you know what Sylvie is driven by? You arrested her. You stole her from her timeline. And then she went on the run. What could she possibly be driven by? How can you not figure it out? We don't need this scene. It's like you should already know what exactly she's driven by. If she wants to take down the TVA and destroy it, then what is she driven by? She wants to destroy the TVA. That's what drives her. So we didn't need that scene. That was a waste of fucking time. You should already know this. So then we're back with they're having a conversation in here. You know, they're talking about, oh, is the alligator actually a Loki? I've never seen him in the TVA before. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care about some alligator. They clearly put it in as a joke, but it's like it's not funny though. It's just it's an alligator. Like nothing's like a punchline or anything. It's just, oh, we got one that's an alligator. Laugh, please. Yeah, but it's not funny though. You haven't done anything comedic with it. It's just, oh, we got an alligator version. So then Mobius is like, I don't know, he mentions something about, oh, it's, you know, it's never too late to change. And you kind of get a look from Richard E. Grant, which, you know, I quite like that. He's thinking about, you know, after the stuff he said, like, oh, we're us Lokis, we lie, we kill, we do all this. You know, there's no way of changing us. It's just that sort of look in his face. Again, it's the only thing that is consistently sort of done well, like in the whole episode, where it's like there's little hints that here and there. It's like, you know, to make it obvious what we're going for. So then we get a long and fucking boring conversation between Sylvie and not Loki. And it's just like, I don't fucking care. I don't care. I don't know why these two want to bang each other, which is banging themselves. I don't know why we're doing this. Please just give it a rest. It's very forgetful conversation. Again, because you've set up Loki as, oh, he watched the video and now he's a different person. It's like anything you do with him, I don't fucking care about. There's no investment there because you've done it that way. You're building upon shite. That's really what you're doing. And expecting, you know, my investment in return. So they're just talking about stuff like, you know, which we'll go through quickly because I really don't care about this. This was kind of the part of the episode where I'm looking over there at the wall. I'm like, oh, look at that wallpaper. That's interesting. Look at the pattern of it. It's almost like it's telling a better story than Loki. So, yeah, that's kind of what this scene is. Loki is like, oh, it's cold. And he conjures himself up a blanket. Which means, so I'm still lost on why you stayed in a suit. Why didn't you just conjure yourself up a costume? Considering you are a character that, you know, cares about his look, his style. But no, you watched the video. That's what everything comes down to. Oh, he watched the video. So, yeah, then they're talking about stuff like, she's like, I don't know how to do this. And Loki says, I don't even know what we're doing. And then she says, I don't have friends. Right. I don't really see where that's getting us. You know, Loki saying, I don't even know what we're doing because I'm fucking useless. And you go, I don't have friends. Right, how has that conversation got here? I don't have any friends. All right. What's that got to do with anything? So let me see. So then Loki goes into, I betrayed everyone. That's not who I am anymore. Because I watched a video of something that I never experienced. Therefore, I'm a different person. I'm a changed person. Because that's how changing works. You know, it doesn't happen over a long period of time. No, it's just instantaneous. You know, I can go from, you know, the person I am now to something completely different with just by the flip of a switch. That's how that works. You know, it doesn't take, you know, a long amount of time. I still can't believe they did that. That's honestly some of the laziest shit I've ever seen. But then again, it is Michael Waldron. He's a lazy little fucker. What? I don't know where we go now. So yeah, that's that. That goes on for way too long, about 8 minutes. Fucking hell. And it's like you're not really you're doing nothing. You're doing nothing here. You're not character like doing anything with character or plot. It's just like, let's have these two people that are effectively the same person and have them have a romance. That's all that comes out of that. So let's just move on, because it's time to enact the plan where Sylvie repeats everything that we've already heard. Stop it. So yeah, that's what she does. She repeats everything in front of characters where we've already had this conversation. We already know what we're trying to do. So why are we going over everything again? That's right, because the writers are fucking idiots and they think everybody else is idiots. So that's why we have to keep having repeated information. And delivered in a shitty way. The dialogue is so fucking clunky. Which I wrote down the whole thing because I'm like, fuck, you can trim this down quite a bit. But you have Sylvie going, the TVA needs to be brought down. Right, we already fucking know that. We don't know who created it or where they are, but that fit right. So what we've established is, oh, we already fucking know this, and so do all the characters involved. So why are you repeating it? So then she says, when that, you know, the smoke monster, when it hit me earlier, I linked to it. It was brief, but I caught a glimpse of something. And I think if I can get close enough to it, I can enchant it. And it's going to take me to whoever is behind all of this. I'm like, you didn't need that to be that long. How can you have a sentence that long? You know, I linked to it, it was brief, but I caught a glimpse of something, and I think if I can get close enough to it, I can enchant it. So, again, I'll point out, right, so we've already talked about this in front of all the other characters. You got no reason to repeat it. And even if you are repeating it, it's like, trim that down, will you? Just trim all that dialogue down. Just have her say, right, I need to get close to this thing in order to enchant it. You can just have a quick line like that. We don't need all the other bollocks. We don't need it all. But no, that's what they do in this show. So yeah, so everybody's parting ways because it's just going to be. Loki says to Sylvie, "Oh, I'm going with you. I'm staying here with you," and she's like, "You don't have to put your self in harm's way. I am the protector of you, Loki." Because I have something between my legs that you don't. So those two are going to go off to fight it. They give Loki a sword. Right, it's smoke. It is a smoke monster. So then, like, what's his name? Mobius, he goes off. They have a hug before he goes, because they're great friends, apparently, even though there's not really much work done with it. And then before Mobius goes, he looks at he looks at Sylvie and says, "You're my favourite." It's like, oh, just fuck off. How can you sit there and have a hug with this guy, and then you're like to the other person, "You're my favourite"? It's like you barely know her. What a prick. So they're on their way to go and fight this smoke monster. It comes towards them. Loki goes behind her because he's a pussy, apparently, even though he shouldn't be. So he's going to go and distract it while she tries to enchant it. And then eventually, as it goes to kill her, then we get Richard E. Grant. He's come back to save the day. He's now followed through on, I'm going to change. I'm going to help these people out. I'm for once going to do something that isn't going to cause anyone pain. So got a nice little arc there. A nice little arc for a side character that's in one episode and has got a lot more character than anybody else in the show. I like that. I like that part, and that's all we've got out of an entire season of television. The only good thing is just this Richard E. Grant Loki variant. Yeah, that's the only thing that I'll be praising this season. Because the rest of it's fucking shit. So yeah, like he starts like constructing an entire Asgard. It's fucking cool as fuck. I'll give it that. He's actually done something cool, whereas what we've had all season is a Loki that never uses his powers. So at least you're doing something. But yeah, it's pretty cool actually. I will give it that. Yeah, so he constructs all that, so it distracts the monster. So then Sylvie and Loki can enchant it. She has to teach Loki how to do enchantments, even though he should be able to fucking do them anyway. We've seen him do enchantments. I don't know why he isn't able to do it. Even Loki is like, I don't know how to do it, Sylvie. Please, take my balls again and show me how to use enchantments, even though that is part of my capabilities. So then the monster takes out Richard E. Grant. He's now dead. I don't even know why he'd want to sacrifice himself for these two. I wouldn't. I'd rather just let them die. So then it opens up to them. They've now reached beyond the void. So everything's going to get explained the next episode. It's not going to make a lick of sense. Great. So that's episodes. What is it? Episode 5. Jesus. 6 episodes and you're struggling. You're struggling to do anything just with 6 episodes. Again, there was really nothing going on that episode. It was just, oh, there's a smoke monster stopping us from finding out who created the TVA. So we're going to drag out the whole episode and then we're going to do it at the end. And it's like they were struggling it's like you didn't need it to be this long. To be honest, I would make this, what I would do is I would just have the 5 minutes of Richard E. Grant. That's what I'd do. And you would have the best episode of the season. It would actually be a pretty good episode if it was just Richard E. Grant. If they just trimmed it down to his 5 minutes of screen time. Again, 5 minutes of screen time, and we've gotten more character than we have for anyone else, than we have for the main character. That's where we're at with this show. I've got nothing else to add. It's really fucking boring this episode. Again, it's, as I said, I was literally looking at the wall there, like that wallpaper is telling me a story with characters. All the bumps, that was more fucking interesting than this episode. So that's really all I've got to say about it. I'm now moving on to the final episode. It's, really a rush to the finish line.